let's go over to the NFC. NFC is going to be pretty interesting this year. Let's start with the East. The NFC East was probably the NFC least last year. I think the Redskins, the Washington football team won the division. I believe they were 7-9 last year. Am I correct on that? I think they were. Yeah, they were, because the Giants, if I remember correctly, the Giants were 6-10 and beat Dallas on the last day of the season. And had the Washington football team lost to the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, they would have finished 6-10 like the Giants. The Giants beat them twice. Therefore, the Giants would have won the division at 6-10. All right. So you had the Redskins, which I'm going to call them that right now, the 7-9. Giants were 6-10. Cowboys, I think, were 5-11 or 6-10. And the Eagles were right around that same thing. All right. I think it's going to be a better division this year. I think the Cowboys obviously are going to have Dak Prescott back. They've got CeeDee Lamb with 1 year under his belt from last year. They've got Amari Cooper. They're trying to rebuild that defense, and I think they've made some strides in the draft to do that and in free agency. I think their offensive line is a little more healthy this year, and we just have to wait and see what we get from Zeke Elliott. So I think the Cowboys are going to be a force in that division. I think the Eagles are not going to do much this year. I think they might be a little better than last year, but too much flux at the quarterback position. We talked about them just trading for Gardner Minshew. Now you've got Jalen Hurts, who supposedly is the starter, but they haven't named him as that yet. You got Joe Flacco there, who's played pretty well in the preseason. And now you got Gardner Minshew, who was a previous starting quarterback with the Jaguars. So what are you going to do there? I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I think it's a revolving door, and I just don't see the Eagles really making any kind of push. I think the Washington football team is an interesting team. They won the division last year. I think the Eagles laid down for them, but still, they're a solid football team. They've got a really good defense. They might have the best defense in that division. And of course, now they have Fitzmagic, which I think was a really great addition to that football team. You know, last year they had
Haskins.
No, they had Haskins, but the kid who got hurt, Smith.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. Yeah, I couldn't remember his first name. He really played well for them last year, but then got hurt and couldn't play in the playoffs. And then they had that other kid that played in the playoffs. But
what happened to him?
He's still there. He played really well. Of course, they cut Haskins. He's with the Steelers now. But my point is, with Fitzmagic there, I think that team has a chance to win that division. And then if you look at the Giants, I think the Giants can't help but being better this year. They added Kenny Golladay at wide receiver. They've got Evan Ingram at tight end. They've got Sterling Shepard at one receiver. They got Darius Slayton at a receiver. They added Adoree Jackson from the Titans at corner. The Giants might have the best secondary in the league right now. When you look at Bradbury on one corner, Adoree Jackson on the other, you look at not Julius, but Peppers, the other guy. Jabril Peppers at one safety. And then the kid they drafted, McKinney from Alabama, at the other safety. Good, solid linebackers. I think the Giants are going to be a better team. Do they have enough to win the division? I really don't think so. I'm going to go with the Redskins to win the division.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to go with the Giants.
Okay.
I think that all you just said, plus, I mean, ostensibly, they're going to have Saquon Barkley for 16 games.
True.
Which they didn't have last year. Got hurt early. So I'm going to go with the Giants. I think, Fitzmagic, like, I guess I was going to use an analogy that the clock's going to strike midnight on him, but it's not like he's always like dominant. Like, I just don't think you're going to get as many flashes of his brilliance this year for whatever reason. Like,
right.
He's pushing 40 now. Like, that's got to end sometime. Like, and he's not like a Brady or a Favre that's 40 and like just really talented, great quarterback. He's just like, I don't know how to describe him. He's just a guy. Right. So I think that kind of sets the Washington football team back a little bit. I agree with the Eagles that aren't going to do anything for a variety of reasons, like you named. The Cowboys are another one of those teams that I don't have like a name for this grouping, but they're right there with the Browns and the Raiders, where they could tell me they were going to win 3 or 4 games. I believe you. You told me they're going to win 14. I believe you. Like,
right.
Like, I tend to think more they're going to win like in the 7 to 8 range. But Prescott really hasn't convinced me that he's just so reliable that he can automatically win 10 games. He's coming off the ankle injury. Ezekiel Elliott, who knows what kind of shape he's in or how motivated he is to run hard and all that. They're going to have, they seem to have some type of injury every year on the defense or something. And because they're always, all the shows are always talking about the Cowboys and who they got hurt and this and that. Just a lot of nonsense happening there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Giants. I've probably said before on the podcast. Yeah, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. And I don't think that Daniel Jones is necessarily still the long-term answer there. I'm not convinced yet, but
Right.
I think they find a way to win at least 9 or 10 games this year. I think Saquon Barkley has a breakout year. I mean, he's already a little too overhyped, but I think he actually produces pretty well this year, and they get the playoffs.
Yeah, well, if the Giants do what you think they'll do, they win 9 or 10, win the division. Are you then sold on Daniel Jones, or still not?
No, I mean, I think it's more like we said, like the division was so bad last year. I think that it can't help but get better. You're not going to have a 7-win team win the division, but if you win the NFC East at 9 or 10 wins and then lose in the first round of the playoffs, it's still okay.
He's improving though, the Daniel Jones. What do you get knocking?
Before I turn it over to you, Nathan, along with that same lines of thinking, Daniel Jones, it parallels Eli Manning quite a bit. They almost look like the same quarterbacks.
All
right. Huh?
Yes, they're the same people.
No, I know. But my point is Manning's first year was 04, did nothing. 05 made the playoffs, got beat in the first round. 06 made the playoffs, got beat in the second round. 07 won the Super Bowl in that big upset. Daniel Jones, even though they haven't made the playoffs, they were close last year in his second year. Okay. I think this year, could be that, he might be the guy. Nobody thought Eli Manning, even after they won that first Super Bowl, nobody thought Eli Manning was that great of a quarterback. So it took him about 4-5 years to really come into his own. And that may be the case with Daniel Jones.
You're probably sitting here a couple years in the Manning's career thinking,
he's not the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I can see you saying like you said this year. If he doesn't do well this year, get rid of him.
After 06, which was his third year, I was like, yeah come on, guys. If they're losing, they can't get over the hump.
He threw like 5 interceptions one game against the Vikings.
The Vikings. Yeah. He threw 2 pick sixes.
Maybe it was 4 interceptions. But yeah.
So go ahead. Your assessment of the East.
I was going to say something now. I don't remember now.
About Daniel Jones?
No, about my assessment of the East.
Oh.
First of all, the East is like the AFC North, I feel like. I agree the Eagles aren't going to vie for the division. But there's 3 teams that could win the division, just like the AFC North. Except I think whoever wins it, they're going to be a worse record than the AFC North. Like all 3 teams are not as good as the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns. My initial thought before you went, Joseph, I was thinking I'll probably say the Cowboys win the division. But the more I thought I heard your take, and the more I think about it, I agree with you. The Cowboys, they're one of those teams like the Browns. I just don't know what I'm going to get with the Cowboys.
Right.
I guess I don't know what I'm going to get with the Giants, but it's going to have to be better than last year. I mean,
right.
So, and then Washington, again, I don't really know. I don't know. It's tough. I think all 3 of those teams obviously can win the division. I do feel like every year there's something with the Cowboys. They're always talking about what's wrong with the Cowboys, or can they still win the division? It seems like they're always halfway through the year fighting an uphill battle with the Cowboys.
Right.
Like almost.
Right.
But what I'm saying also is though that you also turn on the TV shows and be like the Cowboys are 8-1, 9-1.
That's it. That too.
That's possible. And whereas I don't see that for the Giants or Redskins.
But I feel like even when I shouldn't say they're always fighting an uphill battle. Yeah, that is possible. I feel like even when that happens though,
I agree.
Kind of falls apart at the end of the year sometimes.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Dak Prescott with the injury. Yeah, I guess. You know what? I'll go on a little bit too, and I'll say the Giants as well. I'll say the Giants.
Okay.
The Barkley thing's a good point. They didn't have Barkley all last year.
They didn't have Barkley. That's right, and they still won. They made a great push at the end of the season. I think they won like 5 of their last 7 games.
Yeah. I feel good about the Giants. I think it's going to be all the way down to the wire though between those 3 teams. At least 2 of them.
I agree.
3 of them.
I agree.
I mean, they'll have some divisional game between those 3 teams late in the year that would be like everything riding on it. Who wins this wins the division or something. So it's going to be tough. But I have to say the Giants. Everything you said about Elliott's right. Like, is he going to be in shape this year? Is he going to be really running really hard and stuff? I don't know. Prescott coming off the injury. I have to believe if I was gonna bet on or whatever, I would have to say I think Prescott will bounce back and have a good year. But you just don't know with like an injury like that.
Right.
And then the Washington, they have a good defense, I guess. I just don't. It just feels weird for me to say Washington's gonna win the division. I don't know why it feels weird. It just feels weird. With the Giants seem to be improving. I just don't think they're going to do that. Washington. I was gonna make some. Oh yeah, I really hope that unless the Giants take a step back, which I don't think they'll take a step back.
Right.
I really hope they don't try to get rid of Daniel Jones or something. Because I think they're one of these teams that they've done everything right transitioning to a new quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think.
I don't think that. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying he's basically Eli Manning. Eli Manning's doing well for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand these teams like the Eagles. Like, what are the Eagles doing? What are they thinking? Like, okay, you got this Jalen Hurts guy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he could still be your guy, but then why are you getting all these other quarterbacks? Like, why are you like?
Right.
Like,
well,
if they really believed in him, I feel like they would have just traded for Minshew, right? If they would have believed in him. So I just feel like a lot of times, I feel like the Giants are an example of a team who have gone about getting a new quarterback the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they don't. I hope they stick with it. I hope they don't get scared off too quickly and try to change again and draft one of these like running quarterbacks. You know,
they're not because Daniel Jones isn't going to go 1-15 this year. He's not going to be terrible. He's just at worst case scenario, he's just going to be like, do we think he's good or not? Like he always has been. So they're going to ask themselves, well, what are we going to get that's definitely any better than him? Probably nothing. So they'll pick up his options for the next year. And they're, you know what I mean? Like he'll be there.
But I hope he's not, again, coming out this year, I hope it's not one of those like, well, we don't know. What are you going to do with him? And then they have some like high flying college guy that they don't know if they'll get better performance out of this guy, but it's a risk, right? I hope they don't like take a risk and draft some guy high that's like he can run and do it all, and then he becomes look. There's quarterbacks that kind of lean on their legs more than their arm. You know what I mean? They can win games like Lamar Jackson's one, right? They'll be good quarterbacks for you. It's just I think more often than not, it's not going to bode well for you if you want to win a Super Bowl. More often than not.
No, I agree with that.
They can win you Super Bowls. Mike Vick never did, but he could have won a Super Bowl one of those years, Michael Vick.
Well, I think
it's more of a risk to get one of those quarterbacks if you want to go deep in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you want to win a lot of games and have an MVP player, get one. It's probably more likely he'd win MVP and stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, let's face it. Patrick Mahomes doesn't come along all the time, right? No. I mean, the guy can run and the guy can throw.
Right. He does both.
But my point is, Daniel Jones, the reason most people are sour on him early is because he's not flashy. You know what I mean?
That's what flash is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I hope they don't decide after this year they want a flashy quarterback.
Right. And I don't think they will, like Joseph said. But I think his problem right now, Daniel Jones, is not his command of the offense. It's not his ability to throw the ball downfield. He's got two problems right now, which Eli Manning had early in his career. The first one is not his, is that the offensive line stunk. Okay. He has no time. Second one is his problem. He turns the ball over too much, either fumbling it or throw. All right. So you can't do that. You definitely can't fumble as quarterback. All right. And Eli Manning had that same problem. So I think he corrects a lot of that this year. And I think they move forward and he'll be the guy. But I agree with Joseph. Do we think he's going to be the guy that's going to win them a couple Super Bowls? Who knows? We don't know that yet. But I think he's definitely going to be the guy. I don't think he's that bad. But I think this year, if Barkley stays healthy, if Kenny Golladay performs at wide receiver, if he has any offensive line protection at all, he's got to get them to the playoffs or close to it.
Yeah. You mean
Daniel Jones?
He's got to be like you get.
I mean, I think then they're going to start calling for his head, the media in New York.
I hope they don't.
Yeah, I hope they don't too, but I think that's just the case.